Already. You are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Philadelphia Eagles. And why the Philadelphia Eagles 0-16? Because they suck. They lost the Super Bowl because they suck. The Philadelphia Eagles suck. Rolls right off the tongue there. Philadelphia sucks. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all is going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening? I thank you so much. Thank you. If anybody spends any time watching and replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away. Throw it in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like, give me 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free. Fire away. Plus, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour or 40 minutes or whatever it is, it's nice just to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free. Fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon, second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third one is called the Gridiron. Each one has their own little perks to them, so if you want to help support my channel out, I thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. If you're not, please, hey, go down below, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon. That way, next time I go live or put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose? But if you are subscribed, thank you. And I said, I can use all the support I can get, guys. And then finally, in the description box below, there's 2 Facebook links. The top one takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. I say this in every video. My YouTube channel, my Facebook group, and my Facebook page, which I'm going to go over in a minute. It's all pretty much called the same thing. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. That way, a moron like me, I can remember. It's my YouTube channel because my page called something different than my group. It's all called the same thing. That way, I dumb it down for myself. That way, I can remember. Right? What do we got? In the group, we have over 3,600 members in the group. It's 7 days a week. I'm always putting stuff in here. Usually once I get done going live, I'll spend by the next couple hours just putting stuff in the group and in the page. I try to get up to 10 things every day in there, whether it's a video, a post, a picture, something just showing some stats, something making fun of the Cowboys or Eagles, which are my personal favorites, mind you. And not only do I post stuff in here, but members post stuff in here as well. So if you become a member, you can post stuff in here as well. So there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. Then the second Facebook link takes you to my Facebook page. I'm the administrator in the group, so I'm the only one that posts in here. Unlike the group, the group, I post stuff, but members post stuff. But in the page, I'm the only one. But it's the same thing. Every day, 7 days a week. Usually once I get done going live, I'll want to spend a couple hours just putting stuff in there. And it's, as I said, it's 7 days a week. What do we got? Oh, we went up a little bit. Cool. We're at over 1,600 likes on the page. Yesterday, we were at over 5,600 followers. Now we're at over 5,700 followers. So the page is really doing good. Let me tell you what, really taking off. And I said, it's the same thing. I'm putting, whether it's a video, a picture of a Giant, something showing some stats, anything. Once again, I said something making fun of the Eagles, Cowboys. There's a ton of stuff going in here every day. And I don't commingle them, basically. So basically, any of the videos or pictures or posts or whatever I put in the page, and I'll put in a group. Same thing. Whatever I put in a group, and I'll put in a page, right? I try to keep it separate. I mean, every now and then I see something that makes fun of the Eagles, and I just want to share it with everybody, right? So I might put that in the page in the group. But for the most part, I keep the stuff separate. So if you go to the the page and you like it and you follow it and you go to the group and you become a member, you get a ton of Giants information every day, 7 days a week. And like I say in every video, right? If you go to the page and you like it and you follow it and you go to the group and you become a member, if you're not 100% satisfied, you get your money back. You get your money back guaranteed. All right, with all that stuff said and done that way, boy, the saga that just won't end, huh? Well, it's going to end sometime. We got today's the 13th, soon to be 14th, so we got till July 17th. But I just seen this, obviously it's who was it? Was it Pat Leonard? Apparently, I don't know how he knows. I'm just kind of wondering. Let's see here. Was it Pat Leonard? No, my bad. Ed Valentine. Said Giants contract offer to Saquon's back on the table. Saquon Barkley and the Giants might have taken a small step toward reaching a long-term contract with the news on Tuesday that the contract the Giants pulled after placing the franchise tag on a star is back on the table. They do have time to get a deal done. The two sides have a conversation, said NFL Network's insider Ian Rappaport. I don't know who's telling Ian Rappaport that the two sides have been having contact, but Ian, the rap sheet knows, apparently. The fact that they have had conversations and are talking is good news, and Saquon mentioned in his remarks on Sunday there's still plenty of time. So, the thing that was kind of like with Saquon was a little, I guess, perturbed about, shall we say, was, some of the reports made him sound like he was like the bad guy, like he was being greedy. I guess he just wants, what he thinks is fair market value for him. Now, I mean, obviously the offers came out and all that, but we have no idea exactly what was in the offers. We have no idea what the terms were. We have no idea what the guaranteed money is, like I've been hearing other people saying, they can offer him, like, say, $4 million and just make him happy and put it at $4 million. They can offer him 4 years and make him, they put like $15 million a season, right? Even say $16 million a season, just because he doesn't want to reset the market. But that doesn't necessarily, what's the guaranteed money? That's the big thing, the real big thing. But I mean, they can offer him, $16 million a season APY. But I mean, the thing is, the contract could really be backloaded. Like his final season, he might be getting, so what would that be? 16, 30, it'd be 64. So just say the value of the contract is 4 years and the total is worth $64 million. And that's not the guaranteed money. Now, whatever the guarantee, I mean, a lot of times I think the guarantee would wind up being like, what would that be? Around 60%. I mean, usually, and that seems like a fair ballpark guesstimation. So that would be, what we got, about 13. That would be like 38 million, somewhere around there, 38, 39 million. So say 64 million with about 38, 39 guaranteed. That would be, and I'm saying that's at 16 million. I mean, they're not offering that, but just to make Saquon happy. So, I mean, the big thing is what's the guaranteed money? That's the big thing. But it's also is, if the guaranteed money is not, there, what would make Saquon happy, shall we say? I said they could throw $16 million a season out there. Well, we're offering $16 million. But the thing is that, so that would be 4 years, $64 million. I mean, it could be like the final season, he could be getting $24 million, right? And he ain't never going to see that. That's never going to happen. So, I mean, basically, so you take what? 24 off of 64. So that would mean the first 3 seasons, he's going to get $40 million or 30, 40 million, right? So he's going to average 13.3 a season for the first, 3 seasons, and then the final season is going to balloon up to 24, which they're not paying him 24. They'll either restructure it or he'll be gone after that. So I mean, it's not. Yeah, so it's you just don't know all the terms and everything. So I mean, obviously Saquon was a little perturbed that some reports came out that made him look a little greedy, but something's going to get done. Obviously, he's going to sign the tag, or I mean, I would be totally shocked if he sat the season out. Absolutely, totally shocked. But it's nice to see that at least they put the offer back on the table. Now, the thing is that what you don't know is it the same offer, now same exact offer that was on the table after they put the franchise tag on. They put the franchise tag on. They took that offer, took it off, took it away. Is that the same exact offer? Did they juice it up a little bit, add a little bit more guaranteed money in there? You don't know. But it's nice to see at least they put put something back on there, because that's I don't know, that not highly intelligent as far as I'm concerned. You got the offer on there, at least keep it on there. They said no, whether he signs it or not, it might be the same offer he refused before, and he may not want anything to do with it, but we'll have to wait and see. But at least the offer's still back on the table there. And once again, we still have, if we got, let's see, the 17th, and we have until June's only got 30 days. So say we got this, so we got 16 and 7. So we got just a little short of 5 weeks. Ton of time. You'd be amazed what can get done in an hour. You'd be amazed you'd be amazed at what could get done. If it's the 17th of July and it's 1:00 in the morning and he's got to sign something's got to get popped up by 12 o'clock that day. You'd be amazed what can get done. So we still have a ton of time, but it's nice to see at least the contract was back on the table. Then we got the mini camp. Basically, it's the same thing. It's got a lot of it was what Dable was saying is that it's just kind of like a continuation of what was going on with the OTAs. A lot of training, a lot of teaching, a lot of learning, a lot of walkthroughs, and plus a lot of it where the press was at. The media, shall we say? I mean, they were kind of like far away. So they were kind of like, I guess, coming up with stuff, but I mean, they're trying to look through, like they're far away, and they're kind of trying to look through like a sea of players and all to try to come up with, what's going on and all and everything. But Bill Parcells was there. He's looking, well, I mean, he's 81, so actually, I guess for 81, not looking too bad. I guess I should shut my mouth. For 81, he's not looking, that's not too bad. He don't look too bad for 81. So I guess I should shut my mouth. See, it was Michael Strahan was there, Brandon Jacobs was there, so really, really nice. Then, of course, they got some more tomorrow, the main mini camp tomorrow, and then they got a team building activity or whatever it might be on Thursday, so there'll be nothing for that. But they were talking to some of the coaches, which are cool. Patterson, the Godfather, Jerome Henderson. One thing Jerome Henderson was talking about was it looks like they're going to maybe try to get maybe some type of a committee, try a bunch of guys, because we got a bunch of guys in the slot to see who might work out best. So that's still up in the air. But Jerome Henderson was talking about that. Let's see here. Who else we got? Drew Wilkins was talking about Kayvon and his growth. He should obviously be better this season. Obviously, let us hoop. Let's see here. There were some guys. Obviously, there was a bunch of guys on the sideline still, working with with their let's see, they had a couple of tryout players, Jacob Eason and Martez Manuel, safety. They brought them in. Special guests, right? As I said, Parcells brought the franchise its first 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, we know about that. Let's see, we got quick hits here. Not a lot of terms of practice because the players lined up so that they blocked the media from having a clear sight line into what was going on during some 7-on-7. Gotta love it. Let's see here. Let's see. Inside linebacker Micah McFadden, whom defensive coordinator Wink Martindale mentioned, has made some significant improvement, continued to get snaps next to Bobby Okereke with the ones. Nick McLeod also got some snaps with the ones at safety. So apparently it looks like Nick McLeod might be more, well, it's not obviously written in stone, but it looks like he might be more of a safety this season. Bobby McCain had 2 picks during the practice. Let's see, McCain also had a pass breakup to cap off a nice practice. That's good. Hearing his name quite a bit. That's good. The Giants focus on goal line in the practice, so there were plenty of touchdowns thrown. Daniel Jones connected with Isaiah Hodgins, Paris Campbell, Jamison Crowder, Darius Slayton for scores. But there was also a bunch of guys, obviously, on the sideline as well, too, who were, working with trainers. A lot of guys. So hopefully. Now, also, one thing you're nice is you're not hearing, which is fantastic, is you're not hearing, so-and-so went down and look gruesome, or, well, so-and-so went up, came down, and, we heard a big snap, and he had to be carted off the field. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what's going on with him, but that wasn't look. Or so-and-so, it came down, and they put an air cast on his whole leg. It's, so haven't heard any of that. Thank goodness. The only thing we did was when David Sills came down awkwardly, whatever. That was a couple weeks ago, but it seems like he's okay. So knock on wood, everything's okay. But there was a bunch of guys. Sterling Shepard also said he was kind of on par. He wants to be ready by the beginning of the season, but he said if he's not going to push nothing. It doesn't make any sense, though. But they said there are quite a few guys who are on the sideline, some guys who had, procedures in the offseason. I mean, obviously, once again, you got like, Sterling Shepard, Wan'Dale Robinson, those guys, coming back from injuries, and DJ Davidson, so there's a bunch of guys. So hopefully, after the mini camp's over, everybody's going to have 6 weeks off coming back for training camp. Everybody's at their own, it's not like, well, they're all injured, but they'll all be ready in 3 weeks. No, everybody's coming back. Everybody's at different, progress is at a different pace. So, but so have one more mini camp, and then pretty much then have a team building activity, and then everybody's gone for 6 weeks. Then I saw this article. It's called the what is it? It's the Giants. Nope. So the Halls of Shame, was that what it was called? I got 312,000 tabs. Here we go. Hall of Shame. New York's from Yardbarker. New York Giants Hall of Shame, worst breakup and more. They had 4 things here. One of them, they talked about what was the worst breakup between the Giants and player. And they got, here they got Janoris Jenkins. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. It says the Giants were in the midst of a 4-12 season in 2019 when Jenkins made an inexcusable comment on social media. Now, social media can be a real good friend. It can also be one of your worst enemies. And unfortunately, a lot of guys who just, like to shoot their mouth off or whatever and go to social media. It's about the stupidest thing you can freaking do. And no, Jack Rabbit went out of his way and, said while sitting out practice with an ankle injury, he tweeted his statistics, boasting that he hadn't given up a score since week 3. So then a fan pointed out the team had just won 2 games. Why are you boasting about, we only won 2 games, And the cornerback responded, I only can do my job before calling the fan a name that we won't reprint here. Jenkins had been critical of coaches and players on social media all season, but clearly crossed a line with the comment. He apologized, but still tried to justify his comments when talking to reporters. The moron said, "It's a culture that I grew up in where I'm from. You know what I'm saying?" Jenkins said, "We use all kinds of words for all kinds of slang." Well, that's if you're a moron, yeah, you do that. Yeah, that's what you do on social media if you're a moron, and that's what Janoris Jenkins was, a moron. Jenkins refused to take down the offensive post because he's a moron. And after his half-hearted apology, the Giants released the moron. So, when it's all about you, that's once again, I'm very glad they let him go because it's a team. There's no I in team. And, if it's all about you, we certainly don't need you on the team. Then they got here the worst draft pick. Now, this one's kind of hard to argue with, I guess, because of where he got drafted. They took defensive end Cedric Jones. In 1996, the Giants needed a pass rusher and were looking for a defensive end with the 5th overall pick. They had number 5. Unfortunately for the Giants, they wanted Simeon Rice. But the Cardinals took Simeon Rice with the 3rd pick. So the Giants drafted a player whom they saw as the next best pass rusher. It was like, we're going to take the next best player at that position, whether he's a worth value pick number 5 or not. They could have took Ray Lewis, but we'll take Cedric Jones. So what they did, they reached for a guy. They took the next best defensive end, who was not worthy of a pick 5, and they paid for it. Jones was legally blind in his left eye because of keratoconus, maybe a disorder that occurs when the cornea becomes thin and irregular. Making matters worse, Jones re-injured his eye horsing around with friends 1 month before the draft, and then 3 months after undergoing a cornea transplant. Even with the knowledge of his condition, the Giants still signed Jones to a $12.5 million contract with a team record $5.75 million signing bonus. This was one of the things that was kind of the beginning of the end, shall we say, for George Young, the GM. With vision problems limiting him to he can only play on the right side. He couldn't play on the left side. He was just a right side edge rusher, defensive end. That's all he could play on the right side. Legally blind. And we'll take him at number 5. Yeah. Jones needed 4 years to become a starter and had just 15 sacks in his 5-year career. He never played again in the NFL after his last game was in the 2000 Super Bowl. I think after he left the Giants, I think he went to the Rams, and I guess he never made the team. But he was not the greatest of picks. I mean, especially because he was number 5. Now, the Giants did draft a guy at number 1. Actually, they drafted number 1 2 times. The first time they did was in 1951. It was Kyle Rote. Wound up being a fantastic pick for him. The other guy that took in 1965 was Tucker Fredrickson. And not that he was a bad player, but that the problem was that, the 2 players that were taken right after him, not Ken Willard, who was taken number 2nd overall by the 49ers, but the next 2 gentlemen, who were both selected by the Bears, by the way. The 3rd overall pick was Dick Butkus, one of the greatest middle linebackers of all time. And the 4th overall pick, which just happened to be a running back, which wound up being another Hall of Famer, was by a guy by the name of Gale Sayers. So the Giants selected, Tucker Fredrickson, and, he wound up with injury problems. I mean, he was without question, a decent player. He was not a burner as far as, he was a solid running back. He would get you 3 or 4 yards a carry on average. He was a very good receiver, without question. But I mean, the impact he had on the Giants, as far as yards and all that, was very few and far between. He also, as I said, he had a lot of injury problems. But I said it wasn't so much that he was a very good college running back, very, very good. But that did not necessarily translate into the pros because the Giants did not necessarily have the greatest offensive line in the world. And as I said, he only averaged like 3 yards a carry. But I said what made it even worse was the fact that the Giants missed out on 2 Hall of Famers. Dick Butkus, without question, was the best linebacker. The Giants needed help. They traded away their middle linebacker, Sam Huff. They let him go. All right, he was with the Redskins, so they needed help on their defense, and they could have had Dick Butkus. They also could have had Gale Sayers, who was a threat on any given play to take it all the way. And they took Tucker Frederickson. So, I mean, that was a bit of a little bit of a bad one. But it's hard to argue here with Cedric. I mean, the Giants had other bad picks, but picking Cedric Jones at number 5, knowing he was legally blind and he can only play on the right side, and signing him to a big contract and all that was probably quite possibly really, really horrible. Then they have the worst free agent signing, and then, of course, it's Kenny Golladay, and that's. Oh, my God. In 2 years with the Giants, Golladay had 43 catches and 1 touchdown. We said 1. Giants released him in March, but he still carries almost a $15 million dead cap hit for this year, easily making him the worst free agent signing in franchise history. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. The thing is that what really made it, it was kind of what made it worse is that, the fact that Daboll would not put him in, really. Had put him in for a couple plays, but would not keep him in there. Now, was that because he didn't fit their system? That's why he didn't play, so it made it look even worse. Was that the reason why? Or was it just Golladay was just injured and that banged up and just that horrible? Why wasn't he in there? Because he didn't fit their system? So if they at least put him out there, he probably would have had more catches, but they'd maybe give him a chance. So it's tough to say. I mean, a lot of our madness and fury toward Kenny Golladay because he only had the one touchdown reception and all that, and it was his money and all. But I mean, also, as I say, was it kind of the refusal of Daboll and all to put him out there on the field for an extended period of time? One of those things we'll never know. Then they also have here, this is the last thing I saw here, the Giants Hall of Shame from Yard Barker. It was an article. The New York Giants Hall of Shame, worst breakup and more. All right, then they got here, this one's kind of, however you want to look at it. It said that worst loss. Now, this one's, I can give you worse losses than this one, but this was a very embarrassing loss. They got the divisional round loss to the 49ers after the 1993 season. They lost January 15th, 1994. They lost 44-3. And it was a shame because it was Phil Simms' final game with the Giants and it was Lawrence Taylor's final game with the Giants as well, too. The Giants won the wild card game. They beat the Minnesota Vikings 17-10. The defense played a phenomenal game there. The Giants did just enough to win. And but then they go on the road against the 49ers, and the 49ers were a really, really good team. Really good team there. But the Giants lost 44-3 to the 49ers in the divisional round. The 49ers outgained New York by 219 yards. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. But their defense sacked Giants quarterback 4 times, forcing 3 turnovers. Okay. But the thing was, Ricky Waters ran for 118 yards. He had five touchdowns. That's what was the embarrassing thing. The Giants' only points came off a 25-yard field goal by David Treadwell. As I said, the game ended era for the Giants with Hall of Fame Lawrence Taylor. And, of course, they released Phil Simms after the season was over, and Phil Simms never played again. But, as far as their worst, I mean, I guess you can put that in there as far as, I mean, they had they were 11-5. Dan Reeves' first season, actually they almost won the division. They lost the final game of the season to the Cowboys in overtime. The Giants won that. They would have won the division. They still probably wouldn't have made it to the Super Bowl, but, to go 11-5, win the first in the first round of the playoffs, the wild card, and then go on the road and lose by 41 points in the playoffs. Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. But I mean, the Giants lost. I saw the Giants lose 42-0 to the Oakland Raiders in 1973. That was pretty bad. 1973 on Monday Night Football, they lost 40-6 to the Rams. That was really bad. 1984, they lost 33-12 to the Rams, and it wasn't even that close. The Giants gave up 3 safeties in that game. All were in the third quarter. You give up 3 safeties in a game in one quarter, which is an NFL record. 3 safeties is an NFL record. And in one quarter, obviously, is an NFL record, which will probably never be tied. That's absolutely pathetic. The Giants had 8 yards rushing in that 1984 game against the Rams. I mean, they were absolutely manhandled, and their offense was just absolute total embarrassment in that game. The Giants lost 72-41, 1966 to the Redskins. That was a pretty bad loss. The Giants lost 62-14 in 1953 to the Cleveland Browns. They lost 63-7 to the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1952. You lose by 56 points. That's pretty bad. Then he lost 56-7 in 1943 to the Chicago Bears. Sid Luckman threw 7 touchdown passes in that game. He was the first one to ever throw 7 touchdown passes in a game. 1943, Chicago Bears 56, New York Giants 7. So, and the Giants that season, 1943, wound up tied for first place with the Washington Redskins. They had a playoff game to see who would go to the championship game in 1943. The Redskins won the playoff game 28-0. But however, so the Giants at the end of the season were tied for first place. So if there was a wild card, the Giants would have made the wild card and gone to the playoffs. But there was no wild card back in 1943. But however, the Giants lost 56-7, and basically they were tied for first place. So, you give up 7 touchdown passes to a quarterback in 1943. That's pretty bad. Really, really bad. So, that was an embarrassing loss. The Giants had quite a few embarrassing losses as time has gone by. But, obviously the one in the divisional round of the playoffs, January 15, 1994. That's a pretty bad one. It's hard to argue with that one. Then I got my continuing little series here. All right, of the I'm going over the Giants positional. I'm gonna go each position, and then I'm gonna go special teams, overall special teams, and then I'm gonna go coaching. So right now, where are we at? Is this number? I think I'm number 3. Yeah, we got a long way to go. So I did the quarterbacks, I did the running backs, and now we're at the wide receivers. And I'm basically what I'm doing. I saw some Big Blue Kickoff live. It sounds like a great little thing to do. They gave it's basically I'm grading all the teams in the NFC East. So if you come in first place, in the positional group, you get 4 points. You come in second place, you get 3. Third place, you get 2. If you come in fourth place, you get 1 point. So we're at position number 3, which I just at a random, I picked that. I did quarterbacks, running backs. Now we're doing wide receivers. Tomorrow I'm going to do tight ends. Right. Then I'm going to do tackles, guards, and centers. And then I'm going to go to the defensive side, and I'm going to finish up with special teams and coaching. So far, this is the third positional group, and I'm doing wide receiver. So without question, I am not a big fan at all of the Eagles. They're like backups. Not a fan at all. I'm giving the Eagles, the number 1. I'm giving them the nod here, the number 1 position here in the NFC because of DeVonta Smith and AJ Brown. Brown's just he's a beast. He's truly, truly a beast. I said the 1-2 punch they got there, I think is not, you can't match it in the rest of it. But it's also it's everything all together. It's not just the two guys, but it's also it's also kind of like how the passing game works with the running game, and so it's a little more than just the two receivers. It's everything else. It's how their offense is, and also their wide receiver position. I got them at number one. As I said, I am not a big fan of their backups. I mean, if they wind up, if one of those guys gets hurt, I mean, they really don't have anybody who can really step in there and really take their place. So last season, they were very fortunate, because one of the things that was on the Eagles side, without question, was the lack of injuries. They had Jalen Hurts got banged up a little bit. Lane Johnson was hurt a little bit. I mean, but they didn't have many injuries at all. They were I think they were the fourth least injured team all last season. So they were, relatively healthy. I said, if these two guys get injured, I mean, this season, I mean, the guys coming in to take their place are nothing super spectacular. But as far as the dynamic duo of DeVonta Smith and A.J. Brown, I got the Eagles, their wide receiver group, at number one, just because of those two guys. If it was just A.J. Brown and the other guys, they wouldn't be number one. If it was just DeVonta Smith, absolutely not. But it's the combination of the two of them. I think that the two guys, without question, they're really, really good. Then we got number two. In the second play, I got the Cowboys. ABCD Lamb, man's a stud. Straight up stud. Brandon Cooks, he's a little on the old side, but between him and Michael Gallup, I like those three guys. The Commanders, I got number three. I mean, they're that was a tough one. It was just ABCD Lamb is just a step ahead. I think just a little bit ahead of Curtis Samuels and McLaurin and Dotson. So that's why I got the Cowboys at number two. Right. If we're actually looking overall at like the solid depth of the receiving groups, the Giants are number one, without question. It's just the Giants don't have a dog. They don't have, right? They don't have an ABCD Lamb. They don't have a Brown. But I also like with Washington. I like with Samuel, McLaurin, and Dotson. I like those three guys. I think those three guys over the Giants. I mean, the Giants got Waller, but he's a tight end. The Giants haven't given themselves a number one wide receiver. The Giants definitely moving up in this group without question. But I got the Cowboys at number two because of ABCD Lamb. Gotta love him. And I said, Cooks was a good pickup. He's got some age on his side, but I said Gallup, I like Gallup. So got the Cowboys at number two, and I said Samuels, McLaurin, and Dotson. I like that's a nice threesome right there. Their problem is that but with Jacoby Brissett or Howell, I mean, you have to wait and see, how their passing attack's going to wind up going. That you don't know. But as far as their wide receivers, I like those three. And I said, then I got the Giants. I said, the Giants got a nice list of wide receivers. We got some good twos. We got maybe slot guys. We got speed. We got all this. We just don't have a dog. We got Waller. Waller's the dog, okay? But he's not a wide receiver. I mean, they're going to put him out wide. They might put him in a slot. They might put him in the backfield. They're going to line him up probably all over the place, put him in motion, all that stuff. But he's not a wide receiver. He's a tight end. So that's why I got the Giants in last place here. As I said, Wandale and Darius and Sterling Shepard, Hyatt, possibly Bryce Ford Wheaton. He's probably not going to make the team, but get him on the practice squad. Maybe we keep him on there, maybe develop him. He could turn into maybe something with his speed. So Paris Campbell, fast. Isaiah Hodgins, Jameson Crowder, even Khalil Pimpleton. I mean, he's done pretty decent so far. So overall, the Giants, nice, solid depth. It's just we got to get that. Just think, right? What we're doing with the offensive line, with Daniel Jones. He's not, Patrick Mahomes or anything. Okay. But, I think with what we're building, I think Daniel Jones can do some damage. But I said, if we can Saquon, Darren Waller, if we can keep him healthy, maybe, Daniel Bellinger, let's not forget about him as well. But, what we can do in the slot and as far as the number 2 wide receivers and all, we can never get a number 1. This offense could really be something pretty special, pretty good. But as I said, so I got the Giants in 4th place. I got the Eagles at number 1, Cowboys at number 2 as far as wide receivers, Washington Commanders at number 3, and the Giants because they don't have a dog. Hey, if one of them pops up this year, great. If Isaiah Hodgins winds up turning out to be the man, cool. What we got? Teddy, what's up, buddy? Most overrated quarterback, honestly. Who's the most overrated? Daniel? Who we got? I said, if one of those guys, maybe Jaylen Hyatt takes the top off the defense, maybe he scores 10. Who knows? But we don't know. I said Hodgins, he could have a fantastic season. We don't know. All we have is the evidence in front of us. He had a nice season last year. But unfortunately, with Hodgins, all we know is, also is that the last game we played, right? He had 1 reception against the Eagles. We needed offense. He caught 1 pass. Darius Slayton caught 1 pass. We needed offense. We needed to be able to move the ball. We needed to pass the ball. We're down by 300 points to the Eagles, and our wide receivers got 2 receptions for 7 yards. That's not a dog, right? That's a cat. So we don't have any dogs as of right now. Oh, what do we got? Play 20 games or 21 or 20 games. Well, they're going to wind up, I guess, going to. It sounds like that. Soon we're going to be playing 18 games, and I guess going down to probably 2 preseason games. And somewhere along the line, we're going to go up to 18 regular season games. Wow. Well, it's a lot, but it's not a lot because it's always been like 20. Because when I first started watching football, there was 14 regular season games, but there was 6 preseason games. So there was always like 20 games. Of course, then you go down to, then it went up to, 16 regular season games in 1978, and then it went down to 4 preseason games. So now you're still playing 20 games. And then it went to, now we're doing, 17 and 3, 17 regular season games, 3 preseason games. Then we're playing, and we're going to be playing possibly 18 regular season games, and we're going to go down to 2 preseason games. So the only thing I don't like, I like the preseason, not so much, you can kind of do what you want with it. If you got 3 or 4 preseason games, you can put your starters in there for a quarter or a half just to get them gelling together, which is huge. Or I'm saying, if you have a lot of positional battles, right? What do you want? Do you want, if you got a positional battle with these 2 guys, right? Do you want, well, okay, he'll play a series and you'll play a series. No, you want these guys to play multiple games, a lot of snaps to see who might be you want to make the best decision for the team. So, have like 2 preseason games. You got these positional battles going on. You want to see guys. It's nice. It's nice in training camp, but you want to see them in the game. You want to see what these guys do with live bullets. What's going on with live bullets, and to bring it down like to just the 2 preseason games. I think that's I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. I would really like to have at least 3 preseason games. But unfortunately, it's probably not going to wind up happening. They're probably going to keep it around the 20 game mark, where there's 18 regular season games and probably just 2 preseason games. But it is what it is. It's all about the Benjamins. All about the Benjamins. And unfortunately, money always wins out. Well, it's been 44, almost 45 minutes. Teddy, thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Good talking to you, pal. Good talking to you. So whoever spends any time watching me, thank you. If anybody spends any time watching a replay of this, once again, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Bottom of my heart. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!